Welcome to the Future Successors podcast, where the future is now. My name is Madison Zovich, and today I'm here with
Maya Ford, and today we have the pleasure of being here with Dr. Sherea, the Director of Academics at Overtime Elite. Let's give her a applause. Okay, you want to start off high or you want to start off cold?
Oh, let's go high.
All right, so I'm going to hit you with something that you've said yourself, and I want you to just expand on this a little bit more. So you said that your goal is to leave people and teams better than you find them. Why is that important to you?
Wow, you did your research.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's just me making an impact on anyone that I come across, whether it's a big impact, small impact, that someone just remembers what I've said or what I've shared, or even just an action that I provided to them. And so that's always my goal. One of the things that I love to do is connect people. And so for me, that's leaving a group in a better position to know that they should do the same thing the next time that they are in communication with someone else as well.
Okay.
Steve. You have anything else?
And then I saw that you went to school. Well, you went to a couple schools.
Yeah.
So you got your first degree in FAM for healthcare management, and then you went to FSU for a master's in elementary,
Correct.
and then you ended up with your doctor's in education at Clark Atlanta. So why healthcare management first?
Well, originally, I come from a family, my grandparents were educators. And, I always knew I was going to do something with children. I remember being in high school and had a list on my door, and it was like, you're going to be a teacher, a pediatrician, and it was something else. It was a third thing. And I was like, I'm not going to go to school that long to be a pediatrician. Teachers don't make that much money. Like, I kept talking myself out of all of these things. And so when I got to college, I was like, well, what else do I want to do? It's one of those things that you keep fighting what your passion actually is. And so my aunt told me about healthcare management, just kind of an expanding field with that. And I started doing my research, and I really enjoyed the coursework. And so that's why I did healthcare management. And then I had an internship actually here in Atlanta at Grady, and I was like, this is not for me. Yeah, I was like, I am not meant to sit behind a desk all day. It just, the classwork was engaging enough for me, but the actual job was not what I was passionate about. And so that's when I said, let's finish the degree out, because I don't want to change my major at this point. Having management skills is always good. And then I pivoted to elementary education, like this is really what I really want to do for my master's.
Okay. And as upcoming college students, what's a piece of advice that you would give us?
Oh, I would say first you need to go in and realize that no one's going to be there waking you up and telling you when and where to go to class, right? It is now your chance to say that I am an adult, even though it's crazy to think like an 18-year-old you're considered an adult, right, at that time, but to start to manage your schedule and to manage your time. And the biggest piece of advice, besides taking advantage of the social aspect of college, because that's what you're there for, right? You're there to like learn about yourself while getting your education, but also always remember it is a lot harder for your GPA to fall than it is to bring it back up.
Yes. Woo.
Keep that in mind. So that means you want to go in and get that high GPA that first year and try to keep it there, because once you go down, it's so much harder to bring it back up.
That's true. And then, so I'm going to touch in on your education and what you do here. So you also were if I'm correct, you were a lead teacher in DeKalb County, right?
So I was a teacher in DeKalb County for a number of years, and also a gifted education teacher. And then I actually left, well, I was still in DeKalb, but I left the actual traditional public school to help start a charter school in DeKalb.
Okay. So how does your background in education and knowledge and with everybody that you work with, because now you're working with athletes to where we've heard that it's school, but it's basketball first. So you being that education part, like how do you say, hey, this is the education, we really need y'all to focus? What do you say to them to keep them motivated?
Oh, that's a good question. I think just because they're athletes doesn't mean they're not still humans, they're not still children, right, at the end of the day. And so there are steps that you still have to take and things you still have to do no matter what level of an athlete you are. And in this case, they're high school athletes. So you want to go to college, you have to finish high school, right? And so you just kind of create those not barriers, but opportunities to kind of showcase that while this may not be your focal point, and basketball is, you still have to do these things to get to the next level. And then helping them understand even, in college or becoming a professional athlete, like think about the skills that you'll need now or you'll learn now that's going to help you get to the next level. Because a lot of times, whether you're an athlete or not, you only see like college next, right? Or you don't see after basketball. So helping them understand the importance of their education holistically all around, that you're going to need that throughout different parts of your life. And so not hammering in that it's school, school, school. Like, we want to make it relevant. We want to make it engaging for them. But also remember that you still got to finish this in order to get to the next level.
How would you say that the school environment here is different than a traditional high school?
I think the first thing is smaller class sizes. So when you think of traditional school, you could be in a room with 25, 30 people. Here, you could be in a room with just you one-to-one with your teacher or facilitator, or it could be in 8 to 10 people. So smaller class size, number one. The second thing is individual pacing. And so traditional school, you have this pacing chart, which we still have too, right? Where teachers have to get you to a certain point by the end of the year. But what's different here is our guys can kind of move at their own pace. They can say, hey, I finished these particular assignments, or they have mastered a particular concept where a teacher can move them on to something a lot quicker. Versus, and not all the time, depending on the teacher you have, it's like we're all going to move at the same pace. So the guys here can say, hey, I'm ready to complete this quiz or these assignments, and once they've done that, they can move on to the next thing. So as we look up to April and May, a lot of our guys may have already finished their courses, and so they don't have to come for second period because they finished that class. Well, traditional high school, guess what? You are still coming to school every single day, right, for every period. And then I think the third component to that is no paper, pencil. Not that they're not writing, because they will be writing, and no books and book bags. So they each have an iPad, where most of their work is through the iPad, through our portal on there. And so those three things kind of, are different from traditional high school, where I gotta have my backpack, I gotta have a book for every subject, might be 30 kids in class, and I gotta wait on you to finish before I can move on to, or the teacher can move on to the next concept.
Okay, so what differs between, because we've taken a tour, we've seen y'all have somebody for every subject matter, every teach. So why is it important to have somebody for every subject matter? Because you are in Atlanta, and you're not in Fulton County, but you're in the APS area. Why didn't y'all do Atlanta Virtual Academy? Why didn't y'all do the other things that APS offers to help with online school?
What do you mean by what everyone else offers to help with online school?
Well, I can say with my high school, we had the opportunity of doing straight online. And so you'll do online that which strictly you're on your own. You're on your own, you're going to do online work.
Yeah.
It seems like here you have teachers who will still be able to help you with those resources. So why did you choose teachers to still help, even though they do have an online portal?
Yeah.
Rather than them just doing it themselves?
Good question. So one thing is that when Overtime Elite Academy, Overtime started here, the demographics of the guys that they had looks a little bit different than now. And so when Overtime Elite started, I guess going on 4 years ago now, all of them were considered professional athletes at that time. And so at that time, you needed just facilitators to help facilitate what you mentioned, right? Just kind of going through the online portal of courses. But now that we've moved to a model where majority of them are not considered professional yet, and they've kept their eligibility, they have to go through their traditional high school courses. And so at that time, we're thinking through who's our provider of education. That means who do we source our curriculum through? Just realizing that guys still need instruction and support. So you need a teacher, even though we call them facilitators, to facilitate the instruction by leading it, but to still teach the actual concepts. And so just the way that the overall academy has changed throughout the years, we have to kind of change and grow with that too, to make sure that we meet the needs of the guys.
Okay. And then like you said, the different managements, because y'all basically have freshmen to seniors. So how does that dynamic and different personalities go along? Because for me, I was talking with a couple of our other Future Successor students. I was like, it would be crazy to me if I got to play this person on a different team with me and then come in and work on a project with you. So how do you manage that?
Oh my goodness, good questions. So for one, I think that although they are competitive against each other because they're on separate teams and they're coming here and you never know, the dynamic, they're still boys, so there's going to be some banter back and forth, right, that competitive nature, but they're still respectful of each other, because really at the end of the day, it's a brotherhood for them. They live here together, on campus, they do everything when it comes to basketball, health and performance, the content, education, they're always together. And so I think it's a respect level too, just as an athlete, as a person, as a brother, to be in that space. But yeah, you're gonna have your tense moments. You know, you look up and they're in the corner, and two of them are going back and forth, like, "No, you missed that shot," or "No, you're not that good," or "No, you didn't get enough PT while you talking to me." You know what I'm saying? So those things do happen, but I think the mutual respect, and then us as adults kind of monitoring that, making sure that things don't get too hot and heated, especially in the academic space.
All right.
So how would you say that you foster relationships with the athletes here at OTE?
I think for one, things take time, relationships take time, right? And so just thinking about the 7 months that I have been here, I can look back and think, day one, I just kind of came in, introduced myself, and let them feel me out, because I think that that's what, people need sometimes. Some guys automatically just open up, "Hey, Dr. Sherea," and they're automatically engaging. Others, it takes time, and I think that's where you build trust and relationships. And so that means that they have to see me in a leadership role. There's other things that I do. I go to practice. Sometimes I sit out there in the court. I go to the games. I'm tapping in with their parents. I'm texting them, "Hey, you didn't complete this assignment. What are we doing? Hey, it's study hall. You need to meet with me." So I'm finding different ways to connect to them and relate to them, whether it's just a one-on-one moment talking about my background, finding out something that they like personally. Who's your girlfriend? What school do you want to go to? What are your interests? But fostering relationships just takes time, and you have to build trust amongst people. And some do it automatically, and then some take time.
Okay. And I do have a question. It's a little controversial. So with this being because my background, I'm the youngest of 5 boys. My dad runs a football company, so my mom works in education. So in my household, it was very sports, education. Oh, you got to be on that test, but we're going to still let you play on the field. So how does that dynamic work in OTE? How do y'all hold people accountable with education, but also them having to play basketball as well?
That is the word of the year, accountability. I think the first step, one, starts with the guys, right? You have to have that internal accountability for yourself to know that these are the things that I have to do. But when boys come on board, it's a matter of talking to parents and then outlining in each of our specific areas. So academics, health and performance, content, basketball, everyone has a set of accountability steps that they take. But it also means that we have to communicate with each other. So it could be as simple as someone is behind in a course. Not only am I communicating that with the player, I'm communicating that with the parent, and I'm communicating that with the coach too. And so it's, what do we need to do to ensure that they are catching up? Is it that they need to attend study hall when they go to their advisory with their facilitators? Are we setting goals for them? And then if it affects or bleeds into other areas, that is a decision a coach can make. They could make a decision to say, "Listen, you've been tardy this many times. Maybe that they're going to sit out for a number of minutes." So everybody kind of has their own, role. For me in academics, after a certain amount of tardies or absences unexcused, they may be attending a separate one-on-one study hall with me. And so they'll come in before academics and they'll spend some time with me, whether catching up on work. I even had a player last year to do some research, and he wanted to know about the Divine Nine. He was interested in that, the Greek sororities and fraternities. So he did a research project for me. But I definitely think that it's about creating, and not just creating ways that it's like, if you don't do this, then that all the time, but how can I support you so that you can start to hold yourself accountable for things, and that eventually it becomes something that you do naturally versus knowing that there's a consequence for everything.
Okay. I like that.
All right. Okay, so what would you say is, how do you handle ups and downs? And can you share a moment of resilience?
So I handle ups and downs in a couple of ways. One, I'm the type of person that looks at the glass half full. So I'm always looking at the positive. I always know that tomorrow is another day. So no matter what happens today, we have another chance tomorrow for that. That's just how I operate. I operate in a space of positivity and thinking of what's next versus what happened. Because if you sit in it, you're never going to get to the next step. And resilience, I would say that every day is a day of resilience when you are able to start over and you're kind of able to move on to the next day. But I'd say just starting in a new role and a new job, 6 months ago or 7 months ago at that time, for me, it's like I'm still here and I'm looking ahead. So to me, that's resilience, knowing that I have another opportunity, another chance to impact other lives, and another chance to have another successful school year with the guys. So to me, that's being resilient, just looking ahead to the next day.
Okay. And what would you say to the people, because this isn't a new concept, there are things out there like IMG, there's boarding schools that people send their kids to for sports, and then they have European models of what this would be. So what do you say to those people who are unsure. They don't fully understand what you do here, and that what would you tell them that you actually like? We actually do academics. Like this is what we really do. So what would you say to those people?
Yeah, well, and I will say this, that while some of what we do here may not be a new concept to other people, what we stand out amongst other people is that this is a content branded business, right? And so that you look at the other academies and places and you look at their numbers of followers, they don't have the same resources, they don't have the same exposure that we're able to provide our guys here. So that part is, I think, what sets us apart. But when it comes to the academic side, I love when people kind of come through and they're able to see the space. I'm like, no, they actually go to school here. Like they have 5 periods a day. They have facilitators. They have classes. I think the difference is, as you guys asked in the beginning, is like it's a little non-traditional in the smaller class size. It's non-traditional that they start at noon versus 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. But they still do and have to complete the same things that other high school students do. It's just that they have some other leverage, 2 exposure, and 3 that their overall focus is basketball when they come here. And we're just kind of infusing our academics and everything else into what they traditionally have throughout their day.
Okay, what relationships would you say have helped you along your journey?
Well, one thing I would say about relationships is you always have to remember that you never know when someone's path you'll cross again. So don't burn bridges. You never know who people know. You never know when it'll come in full circle and you'll see someone again. So as you think about building relationships, to think about not burning those bridges with people. So always trying to find a connection. It could be something as small as, where were you born? I was born in the same place, to whatever type of food you like or sports. There's always a way that you can find connectivity with people. But you always want to keep in touch with people, whether it's, I'll reach back next week or periodically throughout the year. You're like, hey, just want to remind you I'm still here if you need me, or hey, I saw something that reminded me of you. I want to reconnect with you. But always just keeping the door open to relationships, because you just truly never know when those relationships will come back around. And I think that every job or position that I've had is because of relationships that I've built along the way.
All right. So we've been going hot for a little minute. Let's cool us down, right?
Okay.
You do work in a basketball environment. So, who is your top 5?
Top 5 what? Players here at OTE? Because that's a lot of pressure. Top 5 what? Team? Because I am kind of representing my NBA team today.
So we can do NBA. Who's your top 5 NBA?
Teams? Well, first Dallas Mavericks, because I'm from Dallas. So overall, as a team.
At least that team's good in Dallas.
Thank you. Yes. We're a little shaky on how it ended this past season, but we're good. I think after that, as a team, I don't know, because I'm just Dallas all day, every day. So, but other teams that I like, I am a Laker hater, so we'll go with that. Okay, always have been.
Okay.
Because I grew up a Bulls fan. But sure, I'll go with, Denver is hot. The New York Knicks are a favorite. Cleveland Cavaliers is another favorite team. And I'll just go south, Miami. Yeah, but Dallas all day.
Yeah,
Like
after we all.
Hey, I can never support the Lakers. It's not me. It's really not me.
That's not you.
When you come from a family that's like from LA, like my dad's, like it's just in you. Like
I feel you.
No choice.
Yes, absolutely. I completely understand.
No, I'm like that, but with like college football.
Okay.
UGA all the way.
Okay.
I might not go there, but UGA.
That's okay. Everybody
I'm
gets tied to their
Tuskegee,
team.
but it's still War Eagle all day.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us. We had a great time.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Give a round of applause.